Alright, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is King Ruthless, and I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This will be a Terran versus Protoss on the map Shattered Temple, and the game will be between the Red Terran and Skelator from Nerdy Shore Forums, and it's Husky's website for those out there who like Husky and who like discussing StarCraft. Definitely go and check it out. Oh, sorry, a little bit of lag there. And its opponents in the left-hand position, it will be Protoss. His name is 652. That is his opponent. So this game was sent to me a while back, and I apologize for not being able to cast these games any sooner. I was busy doing all this cast for Oxa with his Zerg versus Terran strategy, which focuses on a large army a little bit earlier in the mid-game than Zergs generally like to go. So sacrificing a little bit of economy, making macro hatcheries and whatnot. So that way you can really shut down those timing pushes by Terran. As well, we saw how it fared against Mech. You just turtle up, make roaches, and go and kill him. So, anyways, 652 is going to go ahead and scout down here. I guess I should go ahead and make a few more announcements. I do have... Oh my goodness, I don't know why I'm lagging. I do have a couple of more strategies I do want to go over. The first of which will be Flatline's Protoss versus Terran. It does focus a lot on scouting at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and as well he has some gateway or gas timings. I really need to start looking into that thread a little bit more, since I understand very little about the Protoss versus Terran matchup as far as build orders go. But I do know what army compositions work against what. I've been watching a lot of GSL, I've been listening to a lot of Day 9 and Tastosis and Wolf, Doa, all those guys. And as well Mole Trap and Torch. So anyways, let's go back into the game. Looks like Skeletor is going to probably go for a 15 orbital. Very standard opening from Terran, getting one barracks. He has decided not to wall off with this barracks. So this drone will be able to get into his base and scout around. You'll see that everything's more or less standard from here on out. 652 meanwhile is just now throwing down his cybernetics core. Has his pylon position over here, so maybe proxy airplay. Generally, if pylons are over here, I don't like this positioning so much. Generally, your pylons need to be close to your tech or out by your ramp so you can defend and warp in a lot easier. But anyways, let's go ahead and take away these names since we are no longer talking about the two players. We're going to talk about their builds now. Behind this, Skeletor is going to throw down a reactor onto his barracks, so he'll be able to pump out a nice number of Marines. And behind this, another barracks. So, going for a really heavy barracks opening. Would not be surprised, since he is getting gas and not throwing down a factory, to see a tech lab on this and for him to start some sort of stem timing attack. Another pylon going down for 652 is making a Stalker to get rid of this pesky SCV. You want to get a Stalker out as fast as possible to deny scouting from Terran. And yet the Stalker will come in here. He will see the SCV, and will he be able to chase it out? I wonder if Stalkers are actually faster against SCVs. Are they pretty fast? Okay, the SCV does make a cut, and the Stalker will be able to take it out. I think their speed is 2.95, and the speed of an SCV is 2.81. So Stalkers are slightly faster than SCVs. That is an interesting fact to know. Actually, Skeletor has gone for fast concussive shells. So expect him to push out with a Marauder and these Marines and just apply some pressure to Protoss in case he goes for some sort of 15, I guess you could say a Nexus, like a one-gate Nexus build. These Marines and Marauder will go ahead and show away this scouting Stalker. Meanwhile, it looks like we do have one sentry out for Protoss. Two more gateways are going down, so this looks very much like a 3-gate expand. He is making another Zealot, and it's not rallying him over here to the front of the line where he needs to be. The Stalker will get away, his shields will recharge, and meanwhile Terran will start to push out. And I think this is more of a poke, just to see what Protoss is up to. My goodness, that lag is nasty. I'm not sure why I have such lag. I might need to close out some programs, but I don't think I have any other programs on at the moment. Nope, and also I've been casting some games from the SC2. That is the StarCraftCentral.net tournament. If you are interested in showing off your prowess and see how you fare against other SEC members, definitely join up on the forums, and then whenever another tournament is going down, be sure and sign up. because I honestly love it when there's just more competition out there on the field. And anyways, let's go back to this game. Skeletor has thrown down his command center, is throwing down a third barracks, and has these two bunkers positioned out here quite nicely. Protoss will not be able to counter push with any sort of foregate and expect it to win, but it looks like Protoss wants to go ahead and fast expand himself. Pylon's position towards the edge of the ramps, this I guess is a scout for drops, but then again it's really easy for Protoss to just, for Terran, just fly in here with medevacs, snipe off these pylons, and supply lock you. It's just not a very nice thing to have happen. And since there is since there are still SCVs in here mining gas, I would assume that Terran, yes, will probably be going for starport. Tanks aren't really nice against Protoss. If you go for the 1-1-1, then they can be quite nasty. But if you're trying to go for a macro-oriented build, the current metagame is Marine Marauder Medevac, and it works very well. And with that medevac production, if you put a tech lab, or sorry, a reactor on your starport, if he does start for Colossus production, you can go ahead and start spamming out Vikings to take care of those Colossus, which when controlled correctly is a really, really nasty combination. So Stem will finish for Skeletor here momentarily, and now it's just finished. And we'll throw up a missile turret between these two bunkers. It could be back a little bit further if he's afraid of any sort of airplay. He can take out these Marines, but if he's concerned about Dark Templar, he needs to position it a little bit further back. Otherwise, it can get sniped, and then he'll have to rely on scans to pick the rest off. +1 is on the way for Skeletor, and his opponent has successfully expanded. Has a nice sentry count here. He has about 8 sentries, and they are just building up more and more energy. So both players is deciding to sit back in their base and macro up. +1 attack is, I'm sorry, that's +1 armor is starting for Protoss. And he's throwing down a Twilight Council, so we can expect a fast charge or DT or fast blink. We will see which it is. He's only on 2 gas, so it probably won't be DTs. Those are very gas intensive. And since he's still on 2 gas and he's trying to get observers and go for robo, I would say charge lots. This observer will come into the base and scout pretty much what is going on. We'll scout how well this is saturated and for how long this has gone up. It will get picked off because this missile turret is placed down here. But again, I just would prefer that missile turret be placed a little bit further back. Just a little bit nitpicking right there. Meanwhile, this factory, since it's not being used, is very nicely going to go over here and scout and make sure there's no units over here to prevent any sort of drop play. Terran will scout the army, and that is way over here, and then it's a lot of zealots and a lot of sentries, so he can expect charge lots. I wonder if that upgrade has even gone down yet. No, he hasn't even started on his charge upgrade. He's actually going for a robotics base, so kind of confused about why he's doing that so soon. Unless he wants to go for a fast +2 attack, it just doesn't make sense to make a robo bay right after you make a Twilight Council. Don't agree with that build order. Terran, meanwhile, is making medevacs. Will have a drop. Goodness, I am lagging. I don't know why I'm lagging. I'm not running any other programs. I don't think. I'm running IRC, I'm running StarCraft 2, and I'm running Fraps. That should not make me lag. But anyways, this drop will come on over. And since he scouts that no units from this base, he will be free to go ahead and drop off these Marines and start picking away at this probe line. Protoss is going to try and pick down these rocks, but will be forced to retreat because this drop is going down at the main. He's warping in Zealots, not the best idea because Marines, especially with Stem, can kite them all day long. Nice micro from Skeletor. He will keep all these Marines alive, surprisingly, and now he needs to lift off and get away. One Marine will go down, but for killing off 3 Zealots and killing off a probe or 2, that's actually a really, really nice trade for Terran. Meanwhile, not much else going on. They are both just throwing down more buildings and armory going down, so we can expect, I would guess in this position, since there are no factories, he's going to start going for those Viking upgrades, probably with attack first. Second starport going down, and a second engineering base, so it looks like it will be starport and bio. +1 armor is on the way as well for Terran, since not much else is going on. Let's look at the income tab. Whoops, that's not the right button. Income tab. 49 to 51 harvesters. Terran is slightly behind. but he is still continuing that SCV production, and he does have mules, so his income will be on par, or on, yeah, it'll be pretty on par with what Protoss is doing. Looks like Terran wants to go ahead and take his third as well. Skeletor is going to scout in here with his Marines, see that this base has not yet gone down. And now this army will run back and start to pick away at these rocks. And, there we go. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way, as well as +2 armor. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I feel like attack would be much better in this position. Especially if you want to be aggressive. If you want to be more passive, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if armor is really the way to go. You could at least go for 1-1. But this probe will go in here and make a pylon, mine some minerals, and probably throw down expansion shortly afterwards. Terran's third is meanwhile going down. We'll likely turn that into a planetary, or if Toss is just turtling up, he will make it into an orbital command. More medevac production on the way, and he's starting Viking production. He did scout that robotics bay. That's the nice thing about doing drops, is you get a pretty free scout, especially if there's no units back here to pick off the drop. And it's just a great way to scout. 5 gateways up for Protoss, not much else. He is throwing down expansion, and I would like to see from Protoss another 2 gateways so we can continue that production cycle. And needs a couple more Stalkers in this army. He has plenty of charge at this point in time. He needs to start on that Stalker count. That is really going to be the highest DPS dealer for this army. Skeletor will scan in here and see that there are some units back, so he will decide not to drop. Observer, meanwhile, is going to get a nice scout of the base. We'll be careful and cautious not to try to fly over this turret. And besides that, not much else going on. A little bit oversaturated over here, but you can go ahead and send some of these SCVs to the third as soon as it finishes. +1 air attack is on the way, and 2-2 starting for Terran infantry. So now that Terran, I believe, has scouted this expansion, he is going to go ahead and push out the Observer. We'll scout this. And so Protoss should be able to get his army into position in time. But Terran will actually pull back. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's just being a little bit indecisive. Not sure. But anyways, we see Protoss's minerals and gas getting a little bit high. Terran's doing a much better job at spinning those minerals and gas. Stalkers and Zealots coming back to prevent any further drops. 2 more gateways going down. So nicely done by Protoss. This is, yep, for the most part, just pretty much a macro fest. And a Ghost Academy has gone down, and he's starting on that Mobius reactor, so his Ghost will have enough for EMP when he decides to engage with them or create them. But it looks like Terran wants to go ahead and punish Protoss for getting this fast third at the gold. Protoss is expecting the army to be here, but we'll have to turn around to engage this army. This is a pretty small force, and there are no ghosts in this army, so this flank will do tons of damage. Colossus are in pretty good positions here, and not the best force fields. It's actually hurting his Zealot flank. But this should be more than enough to go ahead and pick off the rest of his push. And now Terran needs to just run away with his medevacs. He does not need to keep engaging. He needs to run away with these medevacs. But all of them will get picked off, and so now what Protoss can do at this point in time is just 1A into Terran's base. And as long as he makes a proxy pylon, it should work. It really should. And if he keeps this Observer in a nice spot, I would say over here, this way he can scout if there's any sort of flank going on the high ground. He should do quite nicely. The army needs to pull back together, and reinforcements would be nice. So 2 Colossus, a bunch of sentries, and a bunch of Stalkers. Guardian shields need to go down for Protoss if he hopes to do much at this. I'm not sure what these force fields are doing, but a nice flank by these Vikings. He's going to be able to pick off one of these Colossus, and he's going to start to focus fire the second Colossus, but will retreat once that other army retreats as well. So Terran fending off that push just by better positioning. And had that Observer been in a better spot, and had there been more Stalkers, it would have been a different story. Protoss is macro failing at the moment. He's just at 1,000 gas. There's no excuse for this. But he's throwing down more gateways, needs to pump out more units, needs to pump out more units. But when you're this far ahead, I guess, as far as supply and as far as tech, really push that advantage. Templar Archives has gone down. He needs to start researching Storm as soon as possible. These units will come in here and start to pick away at these rocks. It looks like Protoss wants to take his fourth as soon as possible. This base is slightly oversaturated. And he's just taking a sweet time to do it. All that chrono boost being spent on these warp gates. And yeah, I agree. He needs to just make tons and tons of units at this point. But he's allowed Terran to re-macro. Terran had to start remaking these medevacs because all of them did get picked off in the first engagement. Their base is nicely saturated. So overall, pretty good macro from Terran. I have no real complaints. This Protoss here that's bothering me. His minerals and gas shouldn't be that high. Looks like Skeletor will drop in here. We'll see this Templar Archives and be wise to go ahead and start dropping off these units and pick away at them. Individual units are stimming. That's pretty nice micro. We'll force the cancel on the storm, and this Templar Archives will go down. So Terran is in really nice position and pulls away with all of his units inside this medevac. So really nicely done by Terran. Meanwhile, another drop is going out with Marauders, possibly to deny any subsequent expansions, but it's deciding to stop off here for some reason. So not a very good rally point. Meanwhile, Skeletor's army, oh my goodness, I am lagging. I don't even know why. I don't know why I'm lagging. Skeletor's army is going to start to pick away at these rocks. He does have a decent Viking count, and more Vikings are on the way. He's going to go ahead and throw down his fourth at the gold. We'll likely turn that into a planetary. Protoss, meanwhile, is trying to throw up his fifth. So he's double expanding. I can agree with this. He is about maxed. And it looks like he wants to push out here. This is a sizable force. He needs to get his army into a better position. Maybe use some force fields so this bio can't just kite all day. These sentries are not doing anything whatsoever. He will get EMP'd by the army. And these Charles will finally come in and help clean up the rest of it. Where's that proxy pylon? Uh-oh. Skeletor's actually dropped into his base and is picking away at these probes. Meanwhile, we have an attack going down at the front. He needs to keep this Colossus alive for as long as possible. It does go down. And now it's just Stalkers and Sentries versus MMM. That's not where you want to be. These medevacs will go down and they will get picked off. Skeletor needs to force field off this ramp, so I'm sorry, 652 needs to force field off this ramp so Skeletor cannot continuously reinforce. Not sure what he was thinking here, but maybe he smells blood and maybe he wants to go for the kill right here. This drop has been picked off and more Zealots are streaming in. These SCVs are going to try and get us around, see how much damage they can help deal. Vikings are forced to land to provide additional DPS, and there are just no force fields. This is just way too late, so Protoss is going to lose his entire army. These charge lots are a little bit late to the party. So all these Stalkers will get picked off, and just think, if there had been a proxy pylon, how much faster you could have reinforced this. It would have been nasty. SCVs are running away to the gold. Stalkers are engaging. This is a really nice position here for Protoss. Terran is really hard pressed, but will throw up his wall. So these charge lots will not be able to do any further damage, and will not start to pick away at this orbital command. But it looks like, yes, he will be able to pick it off. So nicely done by 652. Now he can just blink out of here and run away with all of his units. Very nicely done. So Terran is down a base. Protoss is at 4 base, not spending any of his chrono boost. Not really macroing too well. And not much else going on really. I don't know why he's making Immortals. Just stick to making Colossus or just switch over to Templar. But no Templar Archives has gone down. He needs to get some sort of unit that does area of effective damage. Does really well against Bio. Especially against Bio with Vikings. I mean, just go for High Templar. Right there. You can just pick apart an army. Looks like Terran does want to engage. He needs to back away from this push. There's just too many Protoss units here. He's going to lose so much. So Protoss will have more than enough to go ahead and pick off this push by Terran. A little bit of an overstim by Terran. And his army will get cleaned up, and he will probably lose these medevacs as well. They need to run away. They're not going to run away. So a small contingent of Protoss forces are out. Templar Archives is finally on the way. But he's just so low on minerals at the moment. He does have all 4 bases mining quite nicely. Terran also has his bases up in mining. And I think Terran's done much better on macro than Protoss, so if Terran could prolong this game, his macro will shine, because Protoss just has not been able to spend his money wisely. Templar Archives is finally completed. He's morphing in 4 more Archons, or 4 Archons, and that's going to be nice to be able to take pick away this gas a little bit. But really, he needs to start on that Storm that just picks apart Bio so fast. But Protoss isn't doing that. There are no proxy pylons. If Protoss just stays here or he tries to engage, he will lose because Terran just has that nice defensive position and can rally units in. Look at the income tab. Terran is on 57 harvesters. Protoss is at 52. Terran is ahead in that regard. Let's look at the unit slots tab. Fairly even, but what do we have here? It looks like a 3,300 advantage for Protoss. So Terran has lost a lot more than Protoss, but we'll see how this push does. That's a lot. There's a lot of Archons and a lot of units here. I don't know why they're running in towards the planetary. That's actually a bad idea. He needs to run away. Do not engage this planetary. You need to take out the army first. Nuke, defensive nuke going off here. So let's go ahead and get rid of all these things right here. And if this nuke goes off, Terran will definitely win this engagement. This Protoss army will get annihilated by this nuke if it does go off. He doesn't have his observer nearby. And the nuke will go off and the army falls. Nice defensive nuke by Terran, and Protoss not reacting in time, and as a result his entire army will die. Unfortunate rally point by Protoss. And meanwhile behind this, I mean, he's just made a round of Zealots, but I would also like to see a lot of Stalkers and maybe some Colossus. He's still continuing with Immortal production. I guess that's okay in this position. They do come out a little bit faster than Colossus. Not sure why this army is moving all the way over here, but now it looks like Terran wants to go ahead and move out. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the lag. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know if I'm running other programs in the background, but Terran's going to push him with a small force. I would have liked for him to wait it for a little bit more, but he's going to push out. He's going to see these charge lots. He needs EMP. If he goes with EMP, this entire army is going to get picked apart. It will get flanked by the rest of the charge lots. And so he's going to try and pick off as many of these Zealots as possible. But now that this army has been picked away, and there are no units up here that can go ahead and shoot at air, Skeletor will be able to retreat. Warping in another round of... Okay, Stalkers, finally. Finally warping in a round of Stalkers. These units are very low on shields and health. They need to retreat back to the base. Meanwhile, Terran is taking his 1, 2, 3, 4... It's technically his 5th. But if he went ahead and moved this command center, and he lifted it down here, you could still mine... Well, there's not many minerals here. You could just at least mine the gas. The gas is done here. And, yeah, he could really afford to get more gas. Meanwhile, Terran is just macroing back up, because Protoss is not doing anything at the moment to punish him. Really can't. Just not very good macro from Protoss. Well, Skeletor is out macroing him, that's for sure. But, okay, let me make sure that my units, my mouse is not moving around all over the place. 652 probably saw the drop coming in that direction. This pylon will get picked off as well as this probe. He does cancel the pylon. And now this drop, since it's been scouted, they should probably just run away. But it will get picked off. This medevac needs to leave. These Marines are going to die very soon. And now another big push coming from Terran. And he's caught Protoss at a very awkward angle. It's going to be really hard for Protoss to engage this. A defensive nuke going down as well. So Protoss should really just hang back. Not sure what he's doing here. He will be able to pick off a lot of these units, but this nuke will land. Will only take down one of those Immortals. So a lot better by Protoss at holding that off. But let's look at the army tab. I mean, it's 86 to 173. Terran can just keep pushing at this point. Just keep rallying units, keep pushing into Protoss and break them. Protoss was ahead early game, but he threw away that lead just with some really bad engagements and just a failure to rally units. So not sure why Protoss is pushing out here with nothing, especially when your opponent is going bio. You can bet he will remake that army so fast. And again, making Archons when he it's not even Research Storm. Oh my god, you should need Research Storm. Storm would help out so much with these engagements. But Terran will push out for, I think, to be the final time. Oh my goodness, again, sorry about that lag. More units are swimming in, and this would be plenty. As long as he gets off a decent EMP, and he does, this army will melt in no time. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the game. You cannot keep trading armies with Terran when you are playing Protoss against a Bio Terran. Against Mech, it can work, but it's just better to retain your units. It takes you a lot longer as Protoss to remake your units. And really 652 is confused as to why he lost. He allowed Terran to re-macro. He did a couple of really bad engagements. He did not have enough rallying units to support his pushes. And that just allowed Terran to come back to the game and win it. So yes, 652 was ahead in the early game, but he just lost that advantage due to some really nasty engagements that he just did not execute very well. Lost too much of his army, kept trading army with Terran, who was going bio. And as a result, he lost the game because he did not have enough army left over to clean up any further pushes from Terran. So that'll do it for this cast, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, send your replays if you would like them casted to kangaruthless@gmail.com, or you can send me a PM on my YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/kangaruthless. As always, please go ahead and comment, rate, subscribe, all those fun things. And that'll do it for this. So I will see you guys next time. Peace.